Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host. Delighted to have you with us on a little bit soggy morning, but everything's good. Everything's going to be good. Colin just posted that city schools in Bremen have closed because of the weather, and so staff are still to report at 10:30. And be cautious, of course, when you travel. Well, we have a very special guest this morning, a gentleman I've known for quite a long time, and we're going to start off by kind of reintroducing him to you, to our audience, to you. And with that, Tim Bearden, former Georgia State Representative, is in the house. Good morning, Tim.
How you doing this morning, Steve? Glad to be here.
All right, and well, what obviously brings you here is you are a candidate for the Georgia Senate District 30 seat vacated by Senator Mike Dugan as he runs for Congress. So I guess the first question for those of us, and it'd be good for me too, to hear, kind of refresh our memory. You served in the Georgia House. What time period, and kind of recap some of that for us.
Yeah, we was first elected in 2004 by the citizens of Carroll and Douglas County. We stayed there till late 2011 when Governor Dill appointed me to the Public Safety Training Center down in Forsyth, which was responsible for the training, basic training, specialized training for approximately 60,000 police officers and 38,000 firefighters.
But I thought that was mainly the GSP training facility.
No, that's the state of Georgia. You have 8 regional academies throughout the state that helps do basic training, specialized training down at Forsyth. They do have basic training as well in the city of Forsyth. So very busy, but we did have State Patrol with us, DNR, GBI. We had everyone pretty much housed there doing their training. So, but in the House, I was chairman of Public Safety Homeland Security, which is kind of neat. Jay Collins is also now chairman of Public Safety Homeland Security, so we kept that in Carroll County.
Oh, well, if you got to mention Jay, we got to mention up front that he gave you a very strong endorsement last week when he was on the program. He didn't hesitate.
And very grateful. Steve, listen, since we knew or felt like we knew that Mike was going to be running for Congress, we were doing due diligence. You know, calling people and saying, if this happens, I think that's very important to make sure that you're not caught behind the 8 ball, so to speak. And what we're doing is we're listening. We're listening to our citizens. We are listening to our local elected officials on city and county level and our state representatives that are elected. And it's been really humbling from the support we received from Jay Collins supporting the campaign to Tyler Paul Smith supporting us, David Huddleston, Sheriff Williams, of course, public safety background together. We know each other, supporting the campaign. Then over in Douglas County, of course, Phil Miller, who's the chairman and former sheriff. I always will call him sheriff because that's how I knew him. But we've just had a really outpouring of support. But my goal is, Georgia's been around for a long time. It's going to be here for a long time after we leave. My goal is to make sure that this district, Harrelson, Carroll, Douglas, Paulding, is set up for a prosperous future going forward. And we can't make that happen or help that happen if we're not listening to the citizens and those people that are running the cities and the counties.
Before we go on a little bit further, you mentioned 7 years in the State House. And then rising to the chairmanship of the Homeland Security Committee, which is a very prominent and important, particularly, since 9/11 committee. Let's take just another moment to kind of reflect on that. What were some of the things you felt like you accomplished during your tenure there, and how did more specifically, how did the Homeland Security Committee? What did you learn from that?
Well, one of the biggest accomplishments, I think, as you know, I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter. And, we wrote, along with, at that time, GeorgiaCarry.org, who's now changed their name to GA2A. We worked very hard and wrote probably the largest gun reform bill in Georgia's history at that time. we don't realize government does not give the rights, but they can take away. Slow bites at the apple, and you would not believe everyone thought Georgia was strong Second Amendment. It wasn't. So making sure the citizens, law-abiding citizens, let's be clear, have the right to defend themselves and their family is key. I mean, it's something that we got to make sure that the law-abiding citizens have to protect themselves, especially in some of the things we're seeing now. So that was huge. The on the Homeland Security perspective, looking at the ports at a different type of level, not so much on economic development, but from a Homeland Security issue to make sure that the ports are safe and protected, because if anything ever happened, Georgia ports are vitally important to make sure products move from our coast throughout the United States. So it was just a big mix of everything with public safety and Homeland Security.
It's become more and more issue across many states across America. And since you were a chairman of the Homeland Security Committee while you were in the House, the border crisis, I assume, would be a concern for you?
What we're seeing over right now on the southern border, and whoever gets elected to Congress, my first phone call would be, we got to get this thing closed. We're looking at approximately 12 million people over the last nearly 4 years. And the kicker is fentanyl. It is flooding our country. This drug is coming in. It's killing approximately 100,000 of our citizens a year, not taking into account the toll that puts on the families and the fabric of our community. And if the citizens if they elect me, and I'm fortunate enough to receive their support and vote on this, we're going to make Georgia the toughest state in the nation when it comes to trafficking fentanyl. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill one person. According to DEA, 1 kilogram can kill approximately 500,000 citizens. 1 kilogram is only 2.2 pounds. It is flooding our southern border, and this is something that's got to come to a stop. And being here with the state of Georgia, we can make sure Georgia's very tough. And since we're talking public safety a little bit, something else I want to talk about. 3 years ago, we seen this defund the police movement. This is absolutely disastrous to our men and women in public safety and our first responders.
That's why the recruiting is down.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to go out there. We have got to make sure that our first responders know that we have their back. We support them. In 2023, we had 378 police officers across this country shot. That's approximately one officer every 23 hours in this country that's being shot. It's a war on police. It's a war on our first responders. And I will do a bill to bring back some serious and harsh mandatory minimums for those people that harm our first responders. They got to be protected. They got to have our support. Without them, we cannot walk safely in the cities and enjoy ourselves. So public safety is going to be a major priority for me.
Before we go to our first break, and without getting too deeply into the weeds, Senate District 30 includes Carroll and Haralson counties. When Mike Dugan was state senator, but now he's stepped down, so it opens up the seat. So qualifying ends tomorrow, I believe.
Correct.
The election is February 11th.
February 13th. And quick correction there. We also have Douglas and Paulding County. So there's 4 counties in Senate District 30.
All right. But it's all, who's going to get to vote on, this is an open race.
Yes.
So you may or may not have a Democrat in the race. But does the normal people who vote normally in District 30 get to vote, or is that a little bit up in the air at the moment?
For right now, we're looking at the new maps, which has half of Carroll County, all of Haralson, part of Douglas, the western side of Douglas County, and a piece of northern Paulding County. So what we're doing as well from the campaign side, I know the counties are going to have their voter education to make sure people know who's getting out to vote. We're going to be doing the same thing. It's vitally important that citizens know what you don't want to have happen, Steve, you don't want someone going to the polls thinking they can vote and get there and they can't because it's not there. So this is going to be a huge voter education effort across the board. So, so to make sure that the people know which precinct they're supposed to be at. Of course, in the early voting, it will be at probably like here in Carroll County at the, what you keep on saying the tag office, but they moved it to the Old West Georgia Technical College now. So you'll have those locations, and then we'll see exactly every precinct will be open. I think, I don't know. We're checking on that one too, because it is a special election. This is the only thing on the ballot. So we're just having to check. We'll be working with Secretary of State's office and our local boards of elections to make sure that we're helping get the voters.
A couple of news stories, I would think, because if you live in Bowden and you're no longer you're in the old 30th, and now you're going to be voting for the new 30th, then who represents you in the Georgia State Senate?
You just brought up a great question. and we will defer that one to the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
I know some of the Board of Elections were shocked. We was kind of surprised when we saw February 13th election date too. But
all right. Well, this is great. This is all very interesting, and it's great for radio. What can I say? We're going to take a break, come back, talk about the surplus in the state of Georgia has, and what that means with Tim Bearden, candidate for Georgia Senate District 30. We'll be back after this.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating over 61 years. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us on the mountain to see our mission and vision in action. Academic excellence, a faith-based environment, and dynamic opportunities are just a few of the reasons our families choose Oak Mountain Academy. Academic scholarships and tuition assistance are available. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us. We're very pleased to have in studio Tim Bearden, former Georgia State rep for 7 years. Also a former Villa Rica police officer, correct?
That's where we started out at, yes, sir.
Okay. And now he's running for Georgia Senate District, the Senate seat left open by Mike Dugan, running for United States Congress, House of Representatives. So, every time I hear a story like this, I'm gonna give you a zinger. I understand that the state of Georgia has a $16 billion surplus, and then $11 billion in undesignated funds. Correct? So, could I maybe get some of my money back?
Well, I would say this: if you have a surplus, you brought in more money of the taxpayers than what you need to run the government.
Okay.
That money needs to go back to the citizens. So I know Governor Kemp has talked about reducing the state income tax, 100% supportive. I also would not mind seeing a reduction of taxes on the corporate side and for small businesses. Our small businesses throughout the district and throughout the state are suffering. They are dealing with higher costs for their products coming in. They're coming in or having to deal with higher employment costs, higher salaries, and you're seeing businesses either close or not open as long as they would like to be. I was talking to a lady the other day. She says she went to a local store and it was closed, and it's one that's usually open 7 days a week. They did not have the employees to stay open. This is devastating for our small businesses, and one of the things we want to do is make sure that we're talking to our small business owners and how can we help them. So that's going to be a very key issue. I think one of the best things we can do is make sure that the employees they have coming in, especially or students graduating high school, coming out of the technical schools or coming out of the college, are prepared to go in. They have those soft skills available and ready to be able to make sure they do the job interview, make sure they have the skills to do the job. And, I know I just mentioned tech schools, but we have a great technical school system here. People that can go in our tech schools, come out with the certificates for the HVAC, plumbing, welding. Hey, hindsight being 2020, when I graduated high school a few years ago out at Bremen, the smart thing for me to do was go get my welding certificates.
Yeah.
Maybe something on diesel mechanic, going to work on in the agricultural community, or go to the ports. There is good jobs to be had, and we have a great system here to make sure that those trades are being taught, CDLs. So, so making sure that the small businesses are not being ignored, and that we're working with them to see what we can do to make sure that their jobs or their businesses can grow and prosper and hopefully expand and even hire more people is going to be key.
Let's stay on that a minute, because oftentimes we hear about, and we have for many years, that Georgia is the one of the most attractive states in the union for business, and business is welcome in Georgia. So those couple of things you mentioned, the corporate tax, the workforce development, et cetera. What other things really kind of come to mind that Georgia could do? I mean, you threw in a term also called soft skills among new hirees. How do you define that?
I think it's basic skills. You go in, you shake someone's hand, you look them in the eye, you introduce yourself. I got a chance to travel the state under Speaker Ralston, under the Rural Development Council. Going to rural Georgia, how can we help you? Agricultural, huge. This district is huge ag. We got to make sure that our farmers, our poultry folks, our cattlemen are getting what they need to get those products out there. One thing we can't control, we can't reduce the gas tax, which helped tremendously, or suspended the gas tax. Those fuel costs is driving a lot of these costs. To make sure that product from the farms getting to the stores, that fuel cost is hitting hard, and we see it at the grocery store. $100 of groceries don't buy very much today. You take your kids and grandkids to McDonald's or any, not to pick on them, but any fast food business, it's a lot more expensive now than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, food's gone up 20% in 3 years.
But getting back to those soft skills, and this is coming from business people while we were making that tour around the state. People come in with an interview wearing pajama bottoms, having their cell phone in their hands. These are the top things. So soft skills to make sure that they are prepared to go forward and enter the workplace. Once they get there, odds are the employer is going to train them the way they need to do their job. But it's getting out the door, making sure you're prepared to do those job interviews, and go into that workforce ready to go and helping these small businesses.
Those are all issues. You mentioned the lady who told you about the local independently owned small business that closed down.
Yes.
All of those things add up. My experience has been that a lot of small business owners and retailers are very prideful, and they don't complain much because they're very independent minded, they're very work ethic minded, and those kind of issues are, when you start putting whether it's soft skills or taxation or regulation together, it becomes very challenging.
I think it's helpful for them to be able to open up more when they know they're going to have someone that's going to listen to their issues and see how they can how we can work together to make this happen.
If you're successful in this campaign for state senate, what kind of committees or work would you like to kind of really focus on that utilizes your skill set?
Well, I think we named two already, with public safety and workforce development, or economic development, to see how we can help the state. But we're serving. We'll get those committees when we get there. well, whoever gets it will be going in right in the middle of a session if this ends on February 13th. If not, then you got a special election. So whoever gets it's going to be put right in the midst of the fire. It's going to be getting very close to crossover day where bills got to get out of the House or Senate, or else they're done for the term. So it's going to be a very fast pace, deep dive once you get into the state Senate.
So your experience kind of will help you kind of navigate very quickly the under the gold dome.
Yes, and the the relationships that we had from the past, and one of the other things, since we're talking about some of these issues right here as well, one of the things I think it is service I did not bring up. We need to make sure we do a better job on mental health. Ever since COVID hit, we have a big issue right now, especially with our younger generations with depression, anxiety. We need to make sure that they have the assistance available to get the help that they need. This is a future generation that we need to make sure
that impacts
we're looking at.
Local businesses too.
It does, and
you can't just hire old guys.
And when we talk about economic development, we also need to not forget broadband. Broadband deployment's huge. To make sure that you have broadband for such things as, especially in areas that are not blessed, like our district here with Tanner Medical Center. You get in some other areas of the state, you may be 40 miles from a hospital. Telehealth, telemental health, farming for GPS, precision spraying. I mean, these things make farming more efficient. So to make sure that we have broadband capability throughout this district is absolutely huge. It's kind of like the new interstate system. It's so important, but also allow the kids to do the research and do homework as well.
Our guest this morning is Tim Bearden. He's a former state rep for 7 years, 2004 to 2011. And now he's a candidate for Georgia Senate District 30, open seat, made possible by from the decision by Senator Mike Dugan to run for Congress. And we're going to be back with more with Tim after this.
The AP Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined advanced placement curriculum track to earn a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically prepared students to pursue college-level studies throughout 17 AP courses in 5 subject categories while enrolled at OMA. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host, and glad to have in studio Tim Bearden, former Georgia State Rep and now a candidate for Georgia Senate District 30, and the election's February 13th.
So, we're in a sprint.
So make up your mind quickly.
Well, early voting starts February 22nd, I do believe. I'm sorry, January 22nd.
You're kidding.
Right, less than 2 weeks.
Oh boy. Okay. This is so much fun. I just tell you what. One thing I've observed over the years is a lot of people who run for office. Of course, you're experienced at this, but a lot of newbies, if you will, they'll say, "Well, I want to do that. It's such a great idea." Well, we don't really have the money. Well, we'll find the money. Let's do it. It's just like anything that feels good or looks good or smells good, they want to do. But that's not the role of government. Certainly not. Someone who believes in limited government. So when you're faced with a vote, as you were in the State House, what criteria do you use whether or not you vote yay or nay?
First thing is the Constitution. If it's not constitutional, you can't vote for it. We've seen that voted for before. We've seen things that, but listening, truly. The first thing you got to realize when you become elected, you do not become a subject matter expert on everything. You've got to make sure that you have the people in the right places. When it comes to public safety, I feel pretty solid on my background to understand the issue. But let's say it's an educational issue. I've got to be able to listen to our citizens, also listen to our educators and our superintendents that are the subject matter experts in the area. How is this going to affect our school system? Is it going to be good or bad for it? We who's elected represent the people that sent us up there. They didn't, it's not what you think's best, it's what's best for the district. So making sure that you have those open lines of communication, speaking with your citizens and an array of people that's in different businesses to different parts of the workforce, to make sure that you have able to make those decisions. Healthcare, same way. Is there a bill out there that's going to affect healthcare? Who do we talk to? We got several people that we know from Tanner Health System, that we can reach out and see how this affects the healthcare system for the citizens of District 30.
Okay. But basically constrained by the Constitution, constrained by good monetary policy, what the budget is. But are you comfortable with, I think the budget now for the state of Georgia is how much? About $30 billion?
It's more than the last time I was there, yes, to say the least.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Because we had to take a major, back in 2008, 2009, we had a major hit to the economy with everything going on. But yeah, so it's higher now than it was then.
Well, we don't want it to go any higher than absolutely necessary, I'll tell you that much. So, okay, well, we're running out of time, unfortunately. But obviously, this is a unusual campaign. Tell us about the campaign, how to get in touch with you. You got a website and all that fun stuff?
We do. The website's beardenforgeorgia.com. Everything is moving so quickly. Every day we are building out. So social media, the website, social media is about to launch hopefully today. So we're just, I said, everyone was a little bit caught off guard with thinking May primary election to February 13th and early voting starting in less than 2 weeks.
But as you started the program, we'll finish with the program saying you've gotten a pretty good amount of support already and commitments.
And we're looking forward other people coming on board supporting the campaign. But I'll be the first one to say, go ask right here on your show. I would ask every citizen for their vote, their support. This is very important for Georgia 30. We do not have someone up there right now representing us. We need to make sure we have someone in there as quickly as possible on February 13th to represent this district, because this is a great place to live. It's a great place to work and raise your kids. So we need to make sure we have someone at the Go Dome. From the Senate side, we have some great representatives here locally looking out for our interests, but we don't have a state senator at this point, and we need to make sure that's filled as quickly as possible.
Our gratitude this morning to Tim Bearden, former Georgia State Rep and now candidate for Georgia State Senate District 30. Who would ever thought?
Who would ever thought?
Life is full of surprises. All right. Well, thank you for listening. We thank Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy for their sponsorship. This is on Facebook Live on our YouTube channel. Go out and make it a great day, even though it's raining. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.